Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for bearing with us there as we were experiencing some technical difficulties and got started much later than we had anticipated, but we are hoping to move past that now as we take you around some live scenes of the track here at Southern National as these guys start their 5 minutes of lone qualifying. Should be another interesting race tonight, another short track. I want to say it's about 0.3 miles in length, so should be some close together action tonight. Probably going to be quite a few cautions, I would anticipate, as usually happens with most of your short tracks. So um, we do have a Q&A up. Feel free to participate in it. And the Q&A is, do you think we will reach 3 cautions before the halfway stage at 63? So with that, we will go ahead and get the race info up on the screen for you. Again, we do apologize for the delay again from the software update. One moment, I am trying to see why our overlays are not wanting to pop up for some reason. Bear with me one moment here while we get that worked out. We apologize once again. Not entirely sure what is going on here. We are going to pause for a brief second and be right back with you. We are going to try to get this worked out. Apologies again. This is just not shaping up to be our night tonight. All right, folks, we are going to see if that fixed us. I am hoping that it did. Don't pay no mind to the stream is ending screen there. We are far from being over yet as we are just getting started. We do have it fixed now. We apologize for that again. So as you see there, that's the info up for Southern National Motorsports. So 0.36 miles, 66 for the temperature. So shouldn't be any too many grip issues tonight. The major grip issues you'll see out on the track tonight will most likely come from the fact of tire wear. It is a 125 lap race, so tire wear is going to play a major factor in this race tonight as the drivers will only have those 2 sets of tires in the pits, the ones that they start with on the car, and they will have to make those last for 125 laps tonight. Hopefully shouldn't be an issue. We will see it come into play depending on pit strategies. The pit strategy here could wind up being everything. We've seen it, pay off quite a few times in the truck series and things of that nature. So we'll see how it works out tonight. Looks like we currently do not have anyone on the track right now, so qualifying should be wrapping up here shortly, and we can get this thing gridded. Looks like we've got about 15 seconds left of grid time, so we're hoping that we will have some drivers in the available for an interview this afternoon. I do also want to apologize for another inconvenience really quick. We will take a look at our starting grid. As you see, make sure I have the right thing up here. Looks like Zachary Audit is going to start us off in first position here with Stephen Gall in the second place, 25 machine. The number 3 machine of Drew Holleran in third. Chris Shriver is going to be heading up fourth. Ricky in the 11 machine in 5th place. Mark Chapman in 6th place. He's a new face that we haven't seen yet. Braden Drury, also new, in 7th. Kyle Simmons in 8th. Joseph Thibodeau in the 8 machine in 9th. Doyle Boyd in the 001 in 10th place. Brent Thompson starting off in 11th, and Aaron Martin in the 27th machine. So a couple of new faces tonight, to start off the grid here. And we are going to get this thing rolling. As we start our laps here, do want to apologize for another slight inconvenience tonight. Normally we have comms up and available for you to hear out throughout the duration of the race. However, tonight we will not have any driver comms. It has been a day for sure of technical difficulties, so the technical monster has gotten us again when it comes to driver comms, so those are down tonight. We do apologize. Don't think it will take away from your race experience much, to be honest. And we've already got one spin out at the very start, just into lap 2 here. Is it enough to trigger a caution? I do believe it will. Could be wrong there. Nope, doesn't look like it's going to. I guess it was clean enough. One of the drivers got some netcode going on there. That is the 45 machine of old Brent Grandpa Thompson there. Ooh, got some banging going on out there. And there is the caution flag. First caution of the evening. Zachary Audit in that 40 machine still holding down first place here as we come into, should be lap 5 heading into. There is a stage caution tonight at lap 63 going into 64. I am sure that for those drivers who have the strategy of waiting it out for that stage caution to take their first set of tires, that's what I would do in this situation. I usually like to kind of Sunday stroll it through the first half, especially when you know there's a stage caution, because cautions typically have a way of messing up the order of things. When a caution comes out and you go in the pits and take any kind of services or anything, the order that you come out of pits in will be where you start the race at. So sometimes it can be beneficial, and you can wind up gaining some positions, or on the flip side of that, you can lose some positions. So that has never been my strong suit. So usually the first half of the race, you will catch me kind of just riding it out until that stage caution, and the second half I will be usually more competitive than I was the first half there. So interesting to see how the pit strategy plays out for these guys tonight, and what some of them choose to do, taking tires early on. Short tracks will eat your tires up very quick as we get green here. At the start of lap 9, you see Audit there in that 40 machine trying to establish a lead early on, it looks like, and he has extended the gap there between himself and the 25 machine of Stephen Gall. And we are back under caution again here. Not sure the incident that may have caused that. It typically goes this way at the start of short track racing, especially when the cars usually stay right there with each other and grouped together for the most part. You'll see a lot of this. Probably see some door banging going on. It's typical stuff in these short track races, and especially in the street stocks here. But hopefully this is not a preview of how the entire race is going to go. While we are still under caution, let's get our let's show our points real quick for the drivers. Show you what they're, kind of remind everybody what they're currently working with here. My apologies there, those aren't wanting to show up either. We'll fix that briefly. Tell you what, if it wasn't for technical difficulties, I don't know what we would do. Alright, now we got it worked out there. So you see Zachary Audit is leading in first place as well in point standings right now with 55 points. Christian Shriver's right behind him and 53 points. Aaron Vogt in 44. Stephen Gall in 39. Kyle Simmons in 38 points. Justin Harris, who is not in this race tonight, 35 points. Just to kind of a little reminder there, is we should be nearing the end of this second caution. Pace car should be pulling off this lap, and he is, and we are back green here as they enter the restart zone. Audit trying to establish that lead early on again, put that nice gap there between himself and the 3 of Drew Holleran. Hopefully we can stay green for a little bit here. We'll see what happens as the race progresses on. I do look for things to kind of stretch out, so to speak, not stay jumbled up and together for long. As we roll into lap 18 here, looks like the 3 machine there of Drew Holleran getting right up on Zachary Audit in that 40. And our third caution of the evening here. See if we can take a look back at that and see what happened there. Do believe this is the incident here that caused that. Oh yeah, a little spin out there by Drew Holleran in the number 3 machine. Definitely not good for the evening there. So we get everybody gridded back up. Looks like it's going to be the 25 machine of Stephen Gall up in first place now after that 4th caution coming out here. Christian Shriver right behind him in the 14 machine. Ricky in the number 11 there, 3rd position. Brent Thompson in 4th. Kyle Simmons in that 74 machine in 5th. Interesting to see how things play out with that 3 machine there after the caution. Definitely not what you want to happen there, and it's to be expected with the short tracks. Again, you will see majority of the action here versus some of your more stretched out tracks and a little more length. Most folks there are relying on the draft. Not really much of a draft game here tonight with the short tracks because there's just no room for it. You look at the straights there, I mean the total track length is what we say it was earlier, 0.36 I believe it was. So 0.36 of a mile, I mean not long at all. The straights, you see them there, is kind of, the camera was panned out. The straights are not very long by the time that you get full throttle. It's time to start letting off and hitting the brakes again. So it's just adds a little bit more of strategy to the play as we roll into lap 22 here of 125 laps tonight. Gone back green again as the 25 of Stephen Gall is trying to get his lead with Chris Shriver in the 14 machine there right behind him. See how long we can keep this one green, and we almost had a little incident there with the 88 getting a little squirrely out there on the track. Looks like his tires may already be trying to let him down at this point. A little early on for that. Hard to say really. The harder you drive these cars in the turns, it's not good for the tires. The 8 of Joseph Thibodeau there. Oh, little fender bender there. Sure, that's going to cause a caution. Could be wrong. Doesn't look like. Maybe it won't. Nope, there it is. I kind of figured it would. Cautions are a lot more persistent on these short tracks when something happens because there's not as much room to give the drivers to get themselves off the track and out of the way of possibly having another collision with someone else. So the cautions usually do tend to be more abundant on these short tracks for that reason. Your longer tracks like Charlotte, if any of you watched the Truck Series this past Saturday over on Speed Zone TV, give them guys a shout out real quick. They cover our broadcast coverage for PRL's Truck Series. If you watch that race at Charlotte, a lot more room to work with at a track like that. You're talking over a mile in length, so big difference than what it what it is for these short tracks. And speaking of Charlotte, the next race for the StreetStock Series, I will double check this info for you real quick while we are still under caution. Should be going green here momentarily. Let's have a look-see here. Do believe week 3, yes. Next week, these drivers will be headed to Charlotte to put on a showdown. So we will get to see them stretch the throttle limits there and really stretch out the racing. Draft will play a factor at Charlotte at a track that big. It's gonna, especially with the amount of horsepower these cars are rolling with, about 350 horses. So a lot of these guys will be relying on the draft at Charlotte. So next Wednesday that will be happening. As we enter the third race of the season next week, already it doesn't feel like that we are 3 races into this. I feel like we just got started with preseason races the other day, and that's been several weeks ago. With the last preseason race being December 31st, so time is really flying, man. I tell you, it gets away from you quickly. As we roll into lap 34 here. So far, so good. Hopefully, it's another decent little while before we experience another caution. I feel these guys haven't really had a chance to really establish any type of lead early on. Seems like every time we start to get a good run going, caution comes out, and we got a slow car on the track there, which is most likely going to trigger a caution. I would not be surprised. Yep, there it is. 6th caution of the night is out. I am sure if we had driver comms going currently, probably would be some hilarious stuff being said if I had to guess. Drivers don't like being under cautions, especially, you know, if it's something that can be prevented. I mean, you expect to have them. Don't get me wrong, but six cautions on, you know, this early in. You gotta imagine these guys are probably feeling a bit frustrated out there tonight, as I believe that was the 27 machine there. Trying to double check. Could have been wrong. Maybe that was the 24 machine. No, 27 of Martin. Passing on the outside there. He was the lucky dog candidate this time around. For those of you that are unfamiliar with what the lucky dog rule is, some leagues run it, some don't. We currently do. Eric Smith says he likes it better with them not being on the mic, so I can understand. I will tell you that there are things being put in place, Eric, to hopefully kind of cut down on some of the excessive chatter. It is nice to hear sometimes these guys communicating with one another in a respectful way, but I will agree with you there. As of late, that hasn't really been happening, so hopefully the commissioner is getting something going there to hopefully curb that, you know, because the driver interactions out on the track sometimes, although some of them are entertaining, it is good to hear that communication sometimes, and kind of gives you insight to what those guys are dealing with sometimes inside that car. So just food for thought, my opinion personally, but definitely understand the situation there for sure. As we roll into lap 42 here, approaching that halfway stage pretty quick, like 63 going into 64, time P1 crosses that finish line there. So roughly about 20 laps exactly, you know, almost. The 8 getting into the side of the 45 of Brent Thompson there. Luckily was not anything major, no spin outs or anything like that, so that's always a plus, keeping us on that green flag racing as we roll into lap 44 now. And it does look like the 14 machine of Chris Shriver has made it up to the front. We will kind of jump up there with him here briefly. Trying to make sure I get good shots of everybody out here on the track. And Stephen Gall on that 25 machine right behind him there. Oh, like right on him. Closed that gap quickly. Just about 0.02 of a second there behind that 14 machine of Shriver. Man, I tell you, that guy is impressive to watch out there, isn't he? He really hits them lines, and I don't believe I've ever seen him on any broadcast in any capacity, really miss his marks. He is it's definitely a force out there. And Stephen Gall on that 25 too. He's another one. He's recently joined. Says he enjoys it here so far. I was talking with him the other day, and he's gotten the lead back from old Chris Shriver there in that 14 machine. Curious to see how things shake up a little bit here with this halfway stage at 63. See how the pit strategy pays off for some of these guys. Fuel's not really an issue here. 30% cap. I want to say was still getting these guys close to 90 laps. I want to say with the track being as short as it is now. Next week when they hit Charlotte, it'll be a horse of another color for sure. Totally different ball game there. As Charlotte is much longer, so that 30% cap will not get them as far. But somewhere here, not as bad on the fuel mileage. However, to make up for that and still create a challenge, I would be willing to bet they are definitely already well into feeling the effects of those tires just peeling off as we roll into the, I believe this is lap 55 here this time around. Yes, it is. So almost halfway here. A few more laps around and we will be hitting that stage, and these guys should be rolling into the pits and probably taking tires, probably taking fuel. They won't have to worry about, shouldn't have to worry about fuel anymore after that halfway stage. Should be enough to get them through the rest of the 63 or so laps, especially considering that the first few laps after lap 63 will be under caution. Main concern they'll need to worry about is conserving those tires and deciding really whether or not they would want to run the risk of a green flag pit stop to maybe take some right sides or take all four, or keep their fingers crossed and hope that another caution comes out sometime after the stage caution to afford them the opportunity to get in there and get some fresh tires and get back out there nice and fresh, keep them competitive. We will try our best to maybe get some pit shot views tonight once we go under the halfway stage to kind of see if we can't get a peek at some of these guys going in and see who may be taking tires, who may not be. Looks like we have a couple of drivers. 74 of Kyle Simmons there, 981 of Drury, and the 88 of Thibodeau already some laps down here. As we enter this caution, I do believe this was our stage caution. I do apologize. Just checking some of the stats here, but I do want to say that I'm pretty sure this was the stage at 63. So that means we have reached our halfway point there as Kyle Simmons in that 74 machine passes on the outside to go ahead and get his lap back. 25 of Stephen Gall there going ahead and entering pits. And the 24 is now going to assume that lead of first position as some of these guys are already coming out of the pits here. Looks like maybe one is still on pit road. Now the 24 is doing something interesting here. And I kind of want to show you what he's doing. He has not gone into pits yet. And in doing so, he has put a majority of the field a lap down by staying out. Now, I don't know if he intends on pitting. It doesn't look like he is. And yes, I was right. That was the stage, halfway stage there. So by doing that, he's put most of these drivers down a lap. So you currently see that the only two right now currently on the lead lap are the 24 of Chapman and the 40 of Audit. So the 3 wants to get that lap back. He's either got to hope for a caution and hope that with the lucky dog, I believe I was in the process of explaining that earlier, a lucky dog candidate is the first driver on track to go a lap down as we run into a caution here. So he may get his wish if he was the first one to go a lap down. They get what we call the lucky dog, which is basically a wave around with a stipulation. Wave arounds are usually triggered by race control in the event that a driver goes down a lap without, basically with it not being his fault. But in the event of a lucky dog, a new candidate is generated every caution. So there you see the number 3 machine of Drew Holleran just passed around on the outside. So he was our lucky dog candidate for that round. And so he will go around the track and get caught back up, and that will place him back on the lead lap. Now what will happen here is once he gets back up to the pack, he will then pass all of those drivers that are still a lap down, and that will be where he is at. So that should put him in 4th position, it looks like. So that'll put us having 4 drivers currently on the lead lap. The rest of the field will be 1 or more laps down. So they will kind of be competing against one another there. Looks like the lights are off on the pace car, so he should be getting ready to come off the track here. As we go back green. Definitely been an interesting race, to say the least, for sure. Everybody looks to be staying pretty competitive there as the 24 gets a little sideways and loses it there for a second. A little bit of bump into the 14 machine of Shriver from the 8 there. Not entirely sure who that may have been caused by, as we are back under caution again. As we see the 24 of Mark Chapman there sitting in the pit boxes. Number 40 of Zachary Audit taking that first place position now, with Drew Holleran in that 3 machine making his way back up there to 2nd. Our 9th caution of the evening here. Did you hear that number 3 machine of Drew hollering there? As we are back green, entering lap 80 of 125, so we've almost reached the end of this one. We haven't really done many cockpit views tonight, so kind of cycle through. We leave the driver information box up there in the corner so you can tell which driver we are currently rolling with. Is that 14 of Christian Shriver there, entering the turn. Ooh, kind of got into the rear of the 8 of Thibodeau there. Kyle Simmons in the 74 machine, kind of hanging out to that outside lane. .45 of Brent Thompson there as we enter in it with him in the dark side, as he likes to say. Looks like the track is kind of spread out a little bit here, and while it's, you know, I'm sure some drivers, especially the ones toward the back of the pack there, probably will not agree with me in this statement, and that's okay. We have our differences, and no worries there, because I know what it feels like to be in that back of the pack situation there, but it does make for more green flag racing. Everybody's kind of had a chance to spread out, and you know, the ones that will attempt to, you know, leave the pack and get back up front there, or attempt to get back up front, I should say, we'll do so, and maybe some of the ones back there might be trying to save their tires for the last 25 laps or so before they try. And, you know, I'm sure the thought's got to be running through some of them's head, you know, that as we see that majority of the field out there is still a lap down from where that 24 of Chapman stayed out during the stage caution and did not come in for anything. So we created a little bit of a problem there for a lot of the drivers. They went a lap down, but it's one of those things that, you know, you got to pay attention to, and try to get into the pits and get out as quick as you can before you have the chance to get lapped down. Obviously, you know, that's hard to do on these shorter tracks because there is so much less distance to cover, and you know, I believe the pace car's speed out here on this short track is about 45 to 47 miles an hour. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in the pits taking, you know, 14, 16 seconds to get you some fuel and slap some tires on, trying to get yourself freshened up, it isn't long before you see in that rear view that the line is approaching you, and you can't go but so fast in pit road, or you run the risk of getting black flagged and slapped with a penalty there. So You know, just, the number 11 of Ricky just spun out. Joseph Thibodeau, the number 8 there. Yikes, and that's definitely going to trigger a caution. There's the old flag man waving it up there. Tenth caution of the evening here. Good for some of these guys, and not so great for others. Does at least guarantee somebody to get their lap back if they choose not to pit under this caution. That is the other stipulation there of a lucky dog candidate. If they pit during, or if they pit while being the lucky dog, they lose it. So they would have to get their lap back first and then make a pit stop. And sometimes, again, especially on these shorter tracks, that can be risky because you might get your lap back but then go a lap down again because the field has done made its way back around to the finish line there, and before you know it, they're passing you. Time the field starts to approach pit entry, pit lane closes, so, and it stays that way until they have safely passed the pit exits there, where you see the commitment cones right there at the end. Once the last car passes, pit lane opens back up, but if you exit while that pit exit is closed, you will receive a black flag penalty. And short tracks like this, that can be a detrimental thing for sure. So as we get ready to, looks like our pace car's caution lights are off, so he should be exiting the track next time around, and we should be going green here. Zachary Audit is going to be starting us off in that first place position again, with Drew right there hot on his heels in that 3 machine. Not too much of a gap there on that restart. Christian Shriver is in the mix now, the 14 machine. He's right there with him. Still a lap down, unfortunately, so he is pretty much locked into that 5th place position as long as he stays right there. He will have to worry about the guys behind him trying to pass him. That will affect his placement because they are a lap down as well. So technically those guys are still on that same lap. So as we are hitting the 20 laps to go marker, we are going to shift the focus up to our leaders up here with the 40 machine of Zachary Audit and Drew Holleran right behind him in the 3 machine. These 19 laps here should go relatively quick. Does not look like we have anyone standing by so far. That could change, hopefully. Hopefully we will be able to end tonight on having some driver interviews. That's something we have been trying to encourage more of. A lot of these guys just don't realize my apologies, I had a little bit of a cough there, but some of these guys don't realize how the transfer room works, and there's also the the after race hype that a lot of them just overlook it because they're especially top 3 positions is normally what we interview, and top 3 win is top 3 finish is really that's a lot to be proud of, especially at tracks like this, because a lot can happen and a lot can take you out of the race. It's hard to stay committed to trying to finish because you never know. Sometimes on these short tracks you can be doing everything right and still get taken out just because you're right there where the hiccups are happening, or perhaps you're stuck behind a driver who's not as comfortable or a little too comfortable and they get complacent. Different factors, that's what makes it interesting. And rolling this one around now with 12 to go here, so we have just about wrapped this one up. 11 laps to go now as they cross the finish line here. I will say, even with the cautions tonight, this 125 laps has gone relatively quickly, especially considering that we had a delayed start to getting up and running here and bringing the action to you because of software technical difficulties and things of that nature. So definitely been a good race, and I'm surprised we're talking about the ending already here as we are rolling up to 8 laps to go here this time around. That number 3 machine of Drew Holleran trying hard to get up there to the number 40 machine of Zachary Audit. As we round another turn here and coming up on 7 to go. Not a lot of time there to really, you got to be mistake-free in these last few laps, especially on this short track here. The laps are just winding down, so every second counts. You see Holleran there of the number 3 machine got about 0.03 of a second gap. Well, it's increased a little bit now, but still relatively about the same between he and Audit. So, he's really got to make these last 6 laps count, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does it. Five laps to go now. Audit trying to keep the gap there between he and Holleran. See if he can't hold on to it, and that'll be his second win of the season. Took the win last weekend at Myrtle Beach Speedway. That was another good short track race. Trying to remember the stats there from that one. I don't believe. I think this race may have had right around the same amount of cautions, or maybe just a few less. A little bit more room to work with at Myrtle Beach, though. It's still a short track, but definitely got some room to work with as we start our white. Oh no! The number 3 of Holleran just dumped the 40 of Zachary Audit. Let's go back and take a look at that there in slow motion. They enter the turn there and yikes. Let's rewind that just a little bit here. Definitely want to take a closer look at that, especially being that this was on the last lap there. We are going to change the view to cockpit and play it out here as they enter the turn. What we want to look at here is the steering wheel of the number 3 machine. You see him kind of cut right there. Oh, definitely a trivial call there. As we roll out the final lap here, and the number 3 machine's going to take home the win. Whoa, yeah. Yep, tempers are definitely flaring out there tonight for sure. Just based off of what we just witnessed there. You see the rotor of that 3 machine glowing red hot from all the braking and accelerating here, man. Not the ideal finish to a race here. Stand by. I'm getting word on something here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the brief hold there for a minute. I was getting word from race officials there. This race will be under review, under official review. So, um, no results have been made official yet, and I'm being told that the final lap there of the race is being looked into. We will still take a look at the end results here. Drew Holleran taking home that first place win there in the number 3 machine with Zachary Audit right there in second. Stephen Gall finished in third tonight. Yeah, he had a really solid run, I felt like, out there tonight. Led some laps, which is always nice to see, especially with some of these guys being as new as they are. Some of them have been here for a while and even run in our truck series, but for the most part, a lot of these guys are literally brand new. So definitely an impressive run by the 25 machine of Stephen Gall there. So we will go ahead and get those results down. So I do apologize because normally we would be going over post-race points and final standings tonight. However, due to the trivial finish tonight, it does not appear that will be happening. We have Drew Holleran of the number 3 machine standing by in the transfer room. So we do have a driver available for interview. Let's take a moment to hear from him and see what he's got to say. Drew, good evening, buddy. Thank you for joining us this evening during the broadcast. So give us a little bit of a recap on what happened out there.
Well, I feel like he come down a little bit. I kind of came up, but the GM certified Chevy was good all day, and it was a fun race to come do some laps and have some fun out here with them, with racing with everybody. And yeah, it was just tough racing to the end, man. It's racing.
Yeah, indeed it is. Indeed it is. What would you say your biggest struggle out there tonight was? Was tire wear a big factor?
Mm, Tire wear, maybe some dirty air. I mean, that's not too big of a thing in these cars, but I definitely felt it getting up behind somebody. It definitely tightened the car up. But once you figure out those corners and you figure out how to diamond them and get to the guy, then that all goes away, thankfully. So not too bad out there. Tire wear wasn't too bad, but you had to watch your fuel at the end. But other than that, pretty solid racing.
Yeah. I want to say the caution count tonight was very similar to what it was with Myrtle Beach. Did you feel like maybe that may have altered or affected any of your strategy tonight with the number of cautions?
I can't say it affected mine, but it definitely affected some of them other guys. They got trapped a lap down. So, because the 24 stayed out, I don't think anybody was expecting that. But thankfully, I was the first one in line to cash the lucky dog check.
Well, you definitely brought home the win tonight, man. Congratulations on the run out there tonight, and a little bit of tensions flaring. Hopefully, stuff like that calms down, and we'll be updating the point standings once we hear more from the official decision. But definitely good running out there tonight. Kind of couple of cautions that I think caught a lot of folks off guard. Definitely the lap down caution there. Anybody out there tonight you want to give a shout out to?
Well, everybody that hosts this whole deal and GM certified, everybody on the car, Virtue Supercars, a couple others, and it was fun to come out here and race, and appreciate everybody who puts this whole thing together.
All right, Drew. Well, it was good hearing from you, and we appreciate you joining us tonight, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too, man.
All right. Good getting to hear from the number 3 of Drew Holleran there. Folks, I'm unsure of what to say, honestly. In those moments, it can be hard to really, you know, make a determination, which is, you know, trying to Monday morning quarterback it straight from a broadcast is really hard to say. So I will say that I would not want to be in the commissioner's shoes looking at this replay because, you know, it's the last lap. Things are going to happen, and you know, typically they do tend to happen when they happen. So he's definitely going to have his plate full with this one, I feel like, and you know, we'll see how things go. Unfortunately, that is going to do it for us tonight. We do hope that, you know, you will join us again next Wednesday as the series heads on to Charlotte for some little bit more stretched out oval racing. Should be another good time. We'll see how things go, and definitely should have the word from the higher ups on the results from this race, and also have you an updated points standings so that we can kick you off the right way next week as we prepare to hit the track for Charlotte. That's going to do it for us this evening. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Definitely want to give a shout out to, you know, some of the sponsors who helped make this thing possible with VB Racing, and of course, you know, everybody here at Palmetto Racing Network. Always a pleasure. Enjoy your evening.